Alright, this is Crazed Chariot. I'm doing a non-point of view cast from a game I played a little while ago. Game against Petrick, who's one of the up-and-coming one-on-one players in FA right now. He's been playing a lot with Zoc and Blackheart, and he's gotten quite good. A little more of an eco player. Likes to really use aggressive bombers early on and try to distract you. Generally very good overall player. I'm not as quite familiar with him as some of the other guys. They haven't played him enough yet, but hopefully will in the future. So I don't know if you've watched the other casts I've done on this on Syrtis or Syrtis. I do have a build order that sort of pumps out early land and gets air a little bit later. So I'm going to set that up here. Go over to Petrick, or Pachuriko as he calls himself now. He's going to go more of a traditional second air, and I imagine he's going to probably pump out 1 to 2 early bombers. His bombers generally, he tries to avoid the middle, so he's going to send a bomber here and here, I believe. Sometimes he'll even cut it short and try to hit my power engineers, but he usually does 2 bombers to start. One of the things I find frustrating to play against him actually is, I can be in complete control of air, but I'm still losing units to bombers because he micros them so well. So it is a good skill set that he's developed, and it can be quite frustrating even for the top players. You lose some engineers, it makes you waste 8 PM getting back up your build orders. So you can see my build getting set up here. I have 2 engineers reclaiming, 3 building power. I'm going to need that power later on, or even early on, to sort of get out, use all these mass reclaim I'm going to get, put it into good use. Sending the scout to here, try to catch some sort of the flight path of a bomber or 2. You can see over in Petrick, here comes the bomber that I was talking about earlier, so let's see what he's queued up. Bomber, scout, and scout, bomber. So yeah, he's going to make 2 bombers, so there's going to, kind of exactly what I predicted, they're going to go here, I think. And then one's going to go like this, I believe, the other one, or he'll cut it in a little closer, I don't know yet. But so you can see though, if I slow down the game, so at around 3:10 or so, he's just getting his second land factory, and it's built on the inside, which means it's going to have a longer walk time to get to anything useful. If you go to, so I've already gotten, I have 3 land pumping out already, compared to his almost just done 2. So really it comes down to if I can survive this bomber attack without getting absolutely obliterated by it. You can see I picked up the scout here. So he's definitely trying to scout for engineers to hit. But if I can survive this bomber attack, I'm going to be in a little better position on land. So let's sort of see what happens here. So I pick up that bomber on radar, I immediately target it. This is just a land scout. Again, he's trying to get intel for that bomber. I'm building some more factories here too. So the nice thing about when you auto-target something, it generally follows it till it's dead or till you're inside. So I actually picked up quickly the second bomber here, and I'm able to target it with another int. So that's quite good. So I've now have both ints locked on, and I'm going to avoid getting abused by early bomber micro. So I'm starting to raid up in the north here. You can see I have a pretty large unit advantage because of those extra early land factories. And it's not only the number of land factories, but it's also the positioning of them. He has sort of less flexibility by putting it here. He can't really raid down here as well. You can go, you know, he can try to protect his base, but even that's further. So, well, he does a nice job using formation here, much better than I do. I trickle my units in. That's bad. So eventually I decided to pull out. I do get a nice little raid going here, though. Prevent him from getting some of that early mass. You can see our ecos are generally about even here at about the 520 mark. I am starting my first mechs upgrade. He has not started his yet. Let's see. We got 5 complete, 6 complete really, and 6.5 to 6, almost 7. So a little more T1 factory for him, although it's fairly even. I'm starting to push the middle here. Cyber's not the best for this, but we'll make do. So because of those early bombers, I have a slight air advantage probably. Although it's very slight. 6 versus. I don't even have an air advantage actually. He must be assisting. So, a fairly even game right now. I probably like my position a little bit more. The fact that I got that early 2-team mechs done, and I'm kind of pushing both the sides here. But you know, fairly even. I have a little more reclaim than him, but an extra 1,500 or 1,000. So, so this reclaim is actually going to be important in a very close game. This can give each either player a huge boost to their economy, and allow them to tech much faster than they normally would. So I have a scout down here. I can kind of see some units coming in here. So I'm probably going to divert. I'm going to get a PD up here. So this is really good for me. I'm getting a majority of this reclaim. In the middle, you can see my reclaim skyrocketing. It's going to go under attack. 7,500. So he's sticking right with me though. Neither player is able to really pull away here. I have a slightly better eco, but it's still neck and neck. I don't know why I didn't build this mechs down here, but it's just laziness. I do get some T2 going, land, making, always going to do power first, and a couple point TMD defense just to prevent from any tactical missiles sniping me, or sniping my eco. So I got 3 T3 mechs here. He's got 2, almost a third, so again, very even. So this is the stage of the game where both players are really trying to, you know, the early raiding is sort of done with. Now both players are thinking about, you know, what's the second stage of the game? How am I going to make an impact? Am I going to go heavy on air? Am I going to keep spamming T1? Am I going to do a gun ACU? Am I going to do T2 land? Am I going to tech hard? Am I going to be more aggressive? So things have sort of settled down. The map has sort of placed itself. It's harder to take ground now, and more costly too, because the armies are bigger. And you know, you lose a couple of Mantis raiding at minute 5 or 6. It's not the end of the world. You know, if you really commit a large army and push here and you lose it, not only do you lose a significant amount of time and resources in your army, but you're also basically giving him both reclaim fields, which can be deadly. You know, you can basically swing. You know, how many units we have here? 50 units, let's say, around here. So 100 units. You can swing a 5k reclaim field fairly quickly. So you have to be careful when you attack and where you pressure. You don't want to push too far in, or you risk basically giving him a massive sort of wreck field to reclaim, which will be far worse for you than any damage you really would have done. So you can see my micro up here. T2, as normal, just eats up T1. not only am I gonna win that battle, I'm also gonna be able to reclaim that, which is nice. I'm also starting to pressure up the middle here. I ran into a PD, didn't scout that, so I'm not going to deal with that. I have some mental aversion towards walled PDs. I don't know why, but I always try to avoid them. I just have trouble killing them for some reason. So you can see an eco here. I'm starting to pull away a little bit from him. You know, he's actually got more reclaim. I think I just teched a little hard a little earlier and got myself in a better position. You know, I'm really going to tech the mexes sort of on this square of the map here. I'm not going to tech these down here, aside from this one that upgraded itself for some reason, but just so I can keep a better eye on them. He's going to do some drops, and he likes to use air, so I don't want to expose myself too much. Again, not really committing up here to a significant attack. You know, I know that I'm not going to really do enough damage with these units. I'm just trying to pepper him. I don't want to leave him reclaim. And I want to make certain I don't lose this reclaim against the IM engineers trying to go for it. Does not have a lot of T2 here. So I circle back in, make sure I don't get any funky terrain business going with these rhinos. I have a good power spam going here. Gonna get a Tech 2 radar so I can get some more intel to sort of cover this whole middle piece of the map. Keep them off these outer mechs here. So I'm starting the storage around the T2. Again, as I mentioned, I'd rather have sort of a tighter area to defend, because I feel like I have a very good position up here. You can see these reclaims starting to come through now. So, well, he is reclaiming all over the map, so he's doing a nice job reclaiming. He just didn't eco as hard as me, which, you know, once you don't eco early, then it's sort of a snowball effect. You have one less mechs to work with, which means I can upgrade another mechs while you can't. And then all of a sudden, before you know it, you know, you're looking at a delta of 30, 40 mass income. So, that's sort of another lesson for another day, but it's hard to explain the intricacies of ecoing, especially in one-on-one, where anytime you can get away with eco and you don't get punished for it, it has a snowball effect on the game over time, which can really put you in a better position going forward. So we roughly have the same amount of T2 mechs. The difference is I've capped mine. He is not, and he's starting to upgrade these outer mechs too, which, you know, it's not a bad strategy, it just depends on how you want to play. I just prefer to keep it more tight, and sort of make him earn killing my base as opposed to creating some juicy targets down here. So I got a T3 factory, and I'm upgrading this one to T3 as well, or T2 then T3. You can see the base, kind of when I mentioned that earlier, how the game settles down. Neither player has really taken any land. You know, I won a couple of reclaim battles up here. You know, he's basically pushed me a little further down here. The middle's pretty much stayed the same, but, you know, it's for almost 5 minutes, both players just kind of jousted and sort of worked on developing a strategy that, or a game plan, I will say, that will hopefully start maybe come to fruition here in the next couple of minutes. But the eco is getting a little tighter. The T3 land I stopped decoing, although I actually, never mind, I got a T3 mechs. So that is going to put me way ahead on eco. Back to my advantage. I'm also starting to pump out some loyalists. A good fast overall unit, good against T2. The Sovereign gunships are great against T1 and T2 land spam. They have a AoE, you can kind of see it. They just really crush any sort of T1 or low hit point unit. Even better when they're in formation when they get clustered. But so if I look from my point of view, cluster. And he's preoccupied up here with raiding. I can see his air cluster. So this little bit of T1 air micro. You're trying to basically swim in those circles, get behind him. Although really just want to keep everything sort of flowing in a circle around your gunship because he comes in for the kill. So I win that air battle quite easily. He's got a few more coming in, but he's lost the numbers now. And unless he has flak, it's going to be really painful to be able to mow down these units and then pressure with my own units right behind them. And also, as I mentioned, I'm now going to get this reclaim field. You can see I've already queued up my one engineer that I have here to get it. I'm going to need to send a few more. So, let's see. What's going on here? So I've definitely pressured. Nice reclaim. I definitely pressured the left and right flanks at the same time. So you see, I can see these drops that he's going to do. I don't know if I can't remember if I actually saw them in game or not, to be honest with you. But this is actually a good illustration of, I think, a little tip for some players that sometimes, to make a drop worth it. You need to sort of be careful about where you drop it and having air control and everything. Otherwise, you just really end up donating mass, not getting a lot of results. So, let's see here. So he's dropping. Let's see what he ends up dropping. So 6 pillars, 2 tanks. So he's dropping around 1,500 mass worth of tanks, and all he manages to do, at least down here, is kill this one T2 mechs, which the wreck is still alive, and it's really just a harassment, I guess. I mean, he's basically donating another 1,500 to 1,600 in mass. He's killed 900 in mass, but then I have all the reclaim from everything. So, was it a horrible drop? No, I mean, he still killed the mechs, but at the end of the day, it's not quite mass efficient, especially because I'm going to be able to rebuild that and reclaim it quite quick. You can see these bricks here just really gobbling up the T2. He started to get his own T3 versus my T2 down here. I have T3 power now, very good power spam. My eco again is still in a very strong position. It's going to be even better here because I'm able to pressure with these bricks. So what I want to do is try to be careful here. I want to kill just enough and then try to get away. I don't want to commit all this mass towards him, towards reclaim. Otherwise, it's exactly the same situation as I mentioned up here, where you're sort of throwing away more mass to kill less mass. So I'm going to go up here and raid a little bit. Hopefully get a couple other T2 mexes. And starting the reclaim train here. See, these units will be able to do a lot of damage. There's 3 T2 mechs here. They can kill. Although Pachuriko does a nice move here. He actually puts his ACU into a transport, drops it, which I don't have any idea of, I believe. Yeah, so, and then he kills both bricks. So, decent little attack here, but he does a nice counter move there. getting out some SAM just to prevent any sort of shenanigans from going down. You can see my eco right now is really pulling away from his. He has T3 land as well, but I'm just in a much better position now. I've got to go almost double his mass income. I look at the map here from my perspective. I've just raided the middle, I've raided the north. I'm pressuring on both sides. I'm feeling pretty good right now. I know I have a huge mass advantage just based on the fact that I have T3 mechs and a lot of stuff capped. So I go for a spider. I have a lot of extra mass in the bank. So really my goal now is I'm going to run the spider right down the middle, I think. So I'm just trying to actually keep him busy on the flanks. I'm not too worried right now about donating mass or not. And now it becomes sort of a numbers game. If I can sort of whittle out his units and maybe split his forces, the only thing I need to worry about is sort of mass Percy spam. So if I can keep him from massing Percy's in the middle, the spider will really do well. 2 to 3 Percy's is fine. 8 to 9 Percy's is bad. 12 Percy's is really bad for a spider. So that's sort of the name of the game right now, is get him to sort of divide his forces. And you can see he's got one Percy ACU up here. He's got 2 Percy's, some G2 units down here. He's got 3 or 4 in the middle, so this is kind of exactly what I wanted to do. Get him to not really commit to anywhere. The spider. So I have a TML launcher that I forgot about, so I'm just using it now to hit anything in range, really. I think I stored up almost 5 or 6 missiles. So. So here comes the monkey. So he hasn't really seen it yet. He hasn't reacted. I don't even kill these persons before they can really get a shot off, which is nice. So again, now he's going to have to sort of commit everything to the middle, I would think, to stop this. But he's so far behind right now that right now he really needs to snipe me in order to go for a win. Once again, I'm not going to be done with this experimental. It's a lower hit point experimental, and it has a high DPS, so I'm trying to protect it, keep it alive. While so I don't have great intel right here. I know that he has Percy's. I'm not going to run this experimental and just monkey lord in. I don't have enough right now to commit it, but I will sort of use it to raid around here, keep off these 3 mechs, and so forth. I actually have a Soul Ripper queued up. Neither one of us has been heavily investing in air, and unless someone really goes T3 air, the Soul Ripper is sort of a cheap way to win a game, but yeah, whatever. Let's take the victory. But I'm tired this morning. So, as always, I always continue my Medusa spam here. He's been trying to ferociously match me in tech, but he's basically totally forsaken air for that. You can see the power difference here is fundamental. Yeah, he's done a decent job holding the map, but he's fallen behind in power. He now scouts this bug, but does he even have the ability to stop it? Probably not. He can do massive flak, but I would just run around. Crush his scouting what's going on, looking for a snipe attempt, because that's the only way I really feel I'll win the game at this point. I'm using my monkey to protect any sort of Percy rush coming from the middle here. Again, I have a large assortment of bricks up here. They should win this battle. He's basically running out of options here. He could have committed a full-fledged attack in the middle, but 10 Perseus trying to attack the Monkey Lord is probably bad intel. Is sure death. I'm just going to target this AC here. See the hit points on this thing. I just need yeah. So you get that early eco advantage, and you can really sort of put it to good use. If you have 1 extra mechs before he does, that gives you 4 extra mass income, which means you can kind of get a second one quicker too. And then all of a sudden you have some free mass to work with, and then you can sort of keep upgrading your mechs while he's basically struggling to upgrade and fight army at the same time. And over time, if you don't really get beaten back, or you don't win any major, or you don't lose any major reclaim battles, that sort of will snowball into a larger eco. It takes about 5-6 minutes for it to hit, and then another 5 or 6 minutes for it to really sort of get to the next stage. But it allows you to sort of jump stages quicker, which means you can sort of grow your mass income lead, up to 20-30%, which is significant. Because it allows you either flexibility to really commit to an attack, or to eco more and sort of increase your lead, or maintain it at least. And then when the moment is right, when you see an opening, you can dump a lot of that mass into an experimental, into a soul ripper, things of that nature. So I think it was a pretty good illustration of a general game, though. We had some raiding back and forth to begin with, and then once things settled down, I went more of a T2 air harass route. Both of us made T2 land. Petra just wasn't in a great position, being behind an eco, to really sort of commit to a sort of a winning strategy. He tried some drops up here, and I think his strategy was to sort of try to hold on with Perseus, or sort of rush Perseus against Siren, but he never really got to critical mass. And I'm sure he would have tried some drops too down here with Perseus. The nice thing is, like I mentioned, I didn't build any, really commit to a lot of resources down here. So drop a couple Perseus here, I don't really care, because you're basically dropping 3,000 worth in mass to kill nothing. So, anyways, interesting game, and we'll attempt to cast a few more today as well.